I got my buddy from my East Coast, Maryland here, Mikey Mike, and we have a surprise guest tonight. Steamboat Willie is back in town. Steamboat, how are you?
I'm doing well. Couldn't be.
What say you, sir?
Well, I'll tell you, I can't believe Tuesday's creeping around the corner, and the California primary is coming up. I am so proud. I want to say this. I am so proud of the kind of campaign you have run, Tony. California needs it. The country needs to see campaigns like that, and I'm proud to have been on board with you. And don't be nervous.
We have what? I think it's we have about 6 days left, maybe 5 days. I can't even keep track anymore.
Yeah, next
Yeah.
Tuesday.
6 days.
Yeah.
Super Tuesday. You know, it's been an interesting campaign. I've met a lot of people, good and bad. Learned a lot from people.
Went a lot better this time than last.
Oh yeah. Well, more engaged this time around. More involved in some of the meetings and get-togethers. Kind of inserted myself in a lot of them. Kind of invited myself to them, but that's fine.
That's good.
We got to get the message out and get people to understand that how important it is to vote.
That's right.
Not because of Republican or Democrat, just vote. Just vote. Everybody needs to vote. So,
Well,
I put
that's
a few reels out there today because I heard you were getting hit by Facebook and Instagram or whatever, so I added a few more.
yeah, I got hit. I got hit pretty good. And it's funny, what I got hit on was just asking people to vote. That's what I don't understand. I was just asking to vote.
Yeah,
I didn't say vote for me. I just said vote. It's your voice. Vote.
That's right.
I'm not sure why that's against, what is it? Their policies.
The community standards.
Yeah, community standards. That's the word they use.
It should be changed to bullshit standards.
And I wasn't the only one. There was another candidate. I'm not going to mention his name, but he posted a lot of religious stuff, a lot of Christianity stuff, and they did the same thing to him yesterday. All his posts were taken off. So it's really a strange time, again, with social media, specifically Facebook.
Right.
So,
they always like to play their games.
I can see if you were saying harsh words or being mean to a specific group, but asking people to vote, I just don't see what's wrong with that. And if somebody wants to post about Christianity, I don't have a problem with that either, right? Whatever you want to do, as long as you're not insulting anybody. People get carried away, and it's probably people complaining, right, to Facebook, but it's ridiculous, right? I mean, instead of focusing on what's really important, which is getting people out to vote, more than anything, get people out to vote. And that's what I think.
Absolutely. Well, gentlemen,
yes.
I want you to take Dave's by storm tonight. I will be listening. I have some other people who are going to be popping in, but you're going to do. Tony, 2024 is your. If there's ever been a year for you, it's and I'm looking forward to Tuesday, and I'm looking forward to a win for California. But it'll be nice to at least have one Republican that has actually won an election out here.
What's that on top of your head, Will? Are you growing something back like me?
No, that's it. No, it's about as smooth as I can get it.
Well, thank you for popping in, sir.
The next Wednesday we'll have champagne.
Well, yeah, we haven't planned that far ahead yet, but after Tuesday there will definitely be a party in the works, and I hear Tony's buying.
Hey, I will. Hey, It'll be. I already took the day off from work, so it's on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a surprise, I'm sure. So rock the airwaves.
All right.
Winners.
You
We know when we see them.
Yeah, we do. So Mikey, what do you think about Trump's victory in Michigan?
I think it was a big signal to a lot of people. He knew he was going to do it, 65%. So they're tired of all the crap that goes on. America's waking up and they want things changed.
You know, it's amazing to me that some of these people running are still running on their woke agenda nonsense, whether it's CRT in their schools or the LGBTQ movement. Instead of focusing on problems we have within our areas or districts or cities, right? We're not even focused on that anymore. You know, the only people focusing are, at least in LA, is for Gascon, and he's still projected to be the top, one of the top twos, which is amazing. How does that happen? How do people get so blinded by somebody not doing their job?
I
I
think
just don't understand.
they need more victims.
I don't know how many more victims they need. I mean, there's been kids murdered, families destroyed, robberies coming in and out everywhere,
Yeah.
and I mean, I don't know what other evidence we need to know that Gascon is not the one to be in charge, right? I
Well,
just don't know.
the people aren't paying attention. You know, they don't educate themselves onto what's going on around them. They just stick with themselves. I mean, I saw somebody on one of my sites, and they said, "Oh, Trump won't win. He's a liar. He's been impeached 4 times. He's got all these charges." I said, "And when was he ever found guilty? None, zero, folks. You don't know what the hell you're talking about."
I think sometimes people think when you're impeached, it's the trial and you're guilty,
Yeah,
right? I think they misunderstand what an impeachment truly is versus what a legal action is,
and
right?
which is funny because now they're doing this. Is Trump immune from prosecution? Well, you can't prosecute him because he was already tried in the Senate and found not guilty. Now, if
Right.
you try to do it again, it's double jeopardy.
It's all nonsense. They're just trying. I don't even know what to call it anymore. What they're trying to do.
Crap,
Um,
attention getting.
yeah, but even that, it takes away from what's going on in our country, right? It takes away from the election process and people doing their civic duty and voting, right? In most states. In California, I don't know what's going on. We still have a low voter turnout. Um, so I'm not sure what's going on with the people in California. I'm not sure if it's the Democrats not voting early this time around or the Republicans not voting. It's hard to say who's not voting right now for us,
Yeah,
which is really a shame.
we actually had a Senate candidate just throw his hat in the ring, and one of the other Republican ones dropped out. That was our past governor, Larry Hogan.
Hmm.
And now the Democrats are scared because he was a pretty popular governor out here. I think he left with like 77%. He reached across the aisles on a lot of things, but in my opinion, he was still a rhino. But to fill that seat with an R in the Senate makes a big difference.
Well, I think today, what's his name? Tom Sozi, whatever. He was sworn back in for Santos.
Oh, yes.
So we lost that seat now, or at
Right.
least temporarily. So it's it's getting narrower and narrower for the GOP to do things right. Um, how this election is going to turn out, in California, I'm totally clueless. I don't know what's going on with people not voting and not being super engaged in what's happening. And I know some people are tired. I get that, and they get apathetic, and I sort of get that. But in order to make things better, if you own a small business and somebody's not doing their job, you're going to find somebody else to do the job.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
It might not be something that you really truly want to do, but you're going to do it for the sake of your business, right?
Right.
The business is the United States of America or California or Maryland or Florida. That's our business. We need to do what's best for the organization or our business, which is, in my case, California. And yet, people are okay with the high price of gas, and it's going up again in California.
Yeah, I think it's going up everywhere.
We got crime going rampant. Doesn't matter. Most major cities have a lot of crime, right? Nothing's happening. Um, People don't want to work. Um, I get, and I got to tell you, I remind me of Panera Bread after this conversation,
Oh,
and
Panera.
people don't want to work for whatever reason, but they don't want to vote either, and they're okay with some of the things or some of the bills that some of these guys are throwing in there, right? Like there's other bills in California pushing to take the parents' rights away, not tell the parents anything, right? I read an article today that since 2016, transgender has grown over 70% in California. People having
Really?
surgeries, getting their parts cut off, um,
Well,
which to me
I won't be
we're not
looking
even
for a
dealing with
girlfriend
the
out
right
there.
issue. I don't know. Well, what's going on is it's California, and you can do whatever you want as long as you agree with Newsom and his nonsense. But there's a lot of things we can do to help, and it's just disheartening to people not to go out there and vote and not to find out who the best person is for the job. Not worry so much about Democrat and Republicans. Let's figure out what we can all do together to at least get on a path to repair the damage, right? Because we can't fix everything right away. We can't fix things overnight, 2 years, 4 years. It's going to be a slow process to change a lot of these bad habits that people have, attitudes that people have. We've allowed them to kind of split us as a society, um, not just by race, but by party lines, uh, you know, groups we belong to. Oh, you're a patriot, you must be a warmonger. Oh, you're a progressive, you must be an evil human being. You don't believe in God. So the government has done a great job of dividing us. And I don't want to say the government. I'm going to go as far as saying
The
the
media.
media has done that for the government,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The media has actually done that, divided us with their nonsense, and people have bought into it, which is crazy to me. I don't understand how people can buy into some of this madness stuff that goes on.
It's funny. Washington, D.C. was supposed to be a perfect square. Maryland donated some land, Virginia donated land, and then Virginia took theirs back. So it's kind of an odd shape. And in that odd shape, it was supposed to be 10 miles by 10 miles. Well, they've had 900 carjackings last year in just that short amount of area.
You know, I mean, if people don't get what's happening, I don't know what else has to happen for people to say, you know what? Yeah, I voted for Gascon last time, but you know what? He's not doing a real good job. Let's look.
Exactly.
Let me go look at these other candidates and at least come up with somebody else, an alternative to Gascon. When Gascon is leading by 22%, the closest rival is 8%.
Wow.
I don't get it. I mean, if you're for law enforcement and you're against crime, it's kind of a no-brainer to me, as far as I'm concerned, right? Kind of a no-brainer. You need to get that guy has to go, or we need to change Prop 47 in California so that he can't do what he's doing. One or the other, right? And if he wins, by the time we get enough signatures to get rid of Prop 47, he'll be there another 2 years. More crime. More issues, more concerns with what's going on in our cities, right?
Well, that's what people are seeing out here too. They're seeing we have a county executive who is running for the Senate, and they drive down the road. They're going, we got all these new houses going up, cutting all the trees down. We got trash on the road. We got potholes. What has she done for us? That's what's making Larry Hogan look good because he's going to project himself up higher where when he left his office as governor, he left with a surplus, and now we have a deficit again.
It's well, I know you heard about California's deficit, $68 billion.
Is that all?
Imagine 2 years ago, we had, I don't remember how much, we had a lot of money left over. And because we give it away, um, it's it's just disheartening that you know people believe that the money given free is free. I don't understand that concept.
All
It's
right.
not free. The more money you pump, the more money you print to pump into the economy, the worse the economy gets.
And then you look at the people that left California who now took their property taxes with them. Yeah, you're going to go down because you're not sustaining what you had.
It's and it's kind of a no-brainer. I look at things, like your family life, right? You have a budget. You stay within that budget so that you don't have a
Right,
deficit, so that you have enough food to eat. So you can, if you want to go somewhere to dinner, you can go and not worry about it. And yet the government with our money, they don't care, right? Willy-nilly, spending it wherever they want, right?
right.
To whomever they want. You have 700,000, I think it was 700,000 um, illegal immigrants in California that Newsom is giving money to, right?
And they keep coming.
God forbid giving it to somebody that's already here that needs it,
To serve your country,
to a veteran that needs it, right?
right?
Let's just give it to somebody that came over here illegally, and then we'll play the card that it's a humanitarian thing. That if we don't do it, we're bad people. If we don't agree, we're bad people, right? And that's the problem, that they take things and they twist them into something that really is not what we're saying, but they take that to the media, and the media twists everything around, right?
It's funny. I saw Jesse Waters last night on TV, and he had one of his man on the street type things with one of his guys, and they were in New York. And the African American community, they would go up to him and say, "Who do you want for your next president?" "Oh, Trump." "Oh, Trump." I mean, it went around, the whole area was like that. But when you go to the south of the border with the illegal immigrants, they say, "Who do you like?" "Oh, we like Biden. We like Biden." Well, yeah, of course you're going to say that because he invited you into the country, and you think you're going to have a better life when half these, or some of these people, I don't want to say half, are thugs. We just had a homicide out here where a 2 year old got killed and the mother got killed, and or the mother got shot in the crossfire. And where was he from? Venezuela. And the same thing in New York.
People just, again, it goes back to people get caught up on listening to the media, to, kind of like in California, in the California ballot, a candidate can pay for their bio to be put on the ballot, right? And depending on what you're running for, there's a cost to it. So I think it's anywhere from $8,000 to $12,000 for a paragraph, right?
Wow.
And I was talking to a church a couple of weeks ago about that, and they thought that was a state writing for that candidate, how wonderful he or she is. And I said, no, that's the candidate talking about himself or herself. I'm like, that's not, but people in this church believe that was a state saying this guy's going to be a good, this is what he does. And the other ones don't have anything written on them. So they must be bad candidates, right? Instead of taking it for what it's worth, it's a candidate, a commercial, right? If I was to do one, I'm not going to say anything negative about myself, right? It's going to be positive.
Of
And,
course.
and they looked at me like I was crazy when I was telling them, right?
Because they
Some
don't
people
know.
didn't even know what committees are. Well, what do they mean these people are running for uh, Democrat
Central
committee
Committee.
or Republican committees? And I'm like, those are volunteers, the people that want to work with their parties to help find people, to help people understand the voting process, right?
Right.
Um, they're not politicians; those are volunteers that are doing that, and we need to have people understand the whole process. And I don't think people truly do when it comes to political positions, volunteer positions, or anything like that, right? You get vetted for positions that you volunteer for, absolutely. Um, but people need to know that it's not something that they're going to have any power or any say in what happens in their community or their city or their district. They're there to help their respective party recruit people, spread the word, help get the vote out, which is a big push because, you think about this. I think last election cycle, I think California had like 18% of the population vote. That's crazy.
That's
So you have 18% deciding for the other 72%, right?
yeah,
Deciding what goes on in our state. Um, which is why every day I remind people to vote now because I want everybody to vote. I don't care if you vote for me or I don't care. Just vote, right? Make your voice heard out there that you want change or you want to keep things as they are. But if you don't vote, you can't complain about the high prices of gas, high prices of food,
right.
crime, what's going on in our school systems. You can't complain about anything. You just
And a
need to
lot of
just
people won't vote in the primaries because they think, oh, it doesn't matter. Well, yeah, it does matter because it decides who goes into the next phase to become the elected official.
well, I think last week we spoke about this. I was interviewed at an Armenian TV station, and the guy that was interviewing me was former mayor of Glendale, and he lost the election by 100 votes. That's it,
Right.
right? 100 votes. So that means that if 100 people would have voted, he might have won. Maybe not. He
Yeah.
might have lost by 200 votes. But we could have more people making the right decision for the community. And here we are, the city of Glendale, sitting on. They're going to raise their sanitation prices. They're going to raise their electric. They're going to raise their water again. Um, they're going to tax the heck out of their taxpayers, and it's their fault because they chose the wrong guy for mayor,
Right.
right? They chose
Yep.
the wrong guy. They knew he was wrong, but some people were too lazy to come out and vote, which is really, especially in California where you can mail in your ballot. There is, and you don't have to pay for postage. There's no excuse. You should vote.
Yeah. You saw the girl that got killed in Georgia
Right.
by the immigrant.
Yeah.
Well, the I think it was Athens, Georgia. The mayor came out and he said, this is sad. And a heckler come in and said, you should be fired. We want you out because previously he said, oh, we're a sanctuary area. We want everybody to come in. We don't care who you are. We welcome you. And now the shoe is going on the other foot where the people are saying, wait a minute, we voted you in and you let this girl get killed because you're a sanctuary. And I think that's happening in quite a few different places.
Well, it absolutely is. It's happening in many places, and there's a passer by name of Derek Gates. He went to the border. And I don't know if it was today or yesterday, but he posted today online um, on how the camps are set up. Right. So he was at a location in San Diego where there's a ridge, and over the ridge is the wall, and then on the other side of the ridge is an encampment for Chinese immigrants that are coming in.
Yeah,
Not
twenty-six
even
thousand.
Not even Mexicans or Salvadorans or Guatemalans or Nicaraguan. These are Chinese people coming over
Yeah,
through the
they're
border
the
right now.
biggest. They're the biggest amount we've had come in. It's been 26,000 of them compared to the other countries. Then it goes to like Russia with 800 or something along that line, and then all the other ones kind of drop down. And you figure 26,000 Chinese. How are they getting here? Well, they're flying to Tijuana, and then they're coming across.
Yep. And because and I bring that up because sometimes people assume what's coming through at the border, and it's not a realistic assumption, right? It's not real. What they hear on TV, they don't hear the breakdown of the kind of people. So I'm pretty sure a lot of them assume that it's Latinos or Hispanics coming through when it's not,
Right?
right?
Iranian.
I mean, it's there.
It's an
You see some
invasion.
pictures. people using tarps to make houses over the ridge on the U.S. side. They hang out there overnight until somebody comes, picks them up, and moves them to
right.
wherever they're going to go. So it's it's freaking nuts out there, right? And even I think San Diego has been anointed now as the new processing center because Texas shut down the border, obviously.
Thing,
So
and they're
now,
doing a great job.
so
Thank you,
now,
Governor Abbott.
so the federal government has advised San Diego that they're going to have the white buses or vans transporting the immigrants to wherever they need to go, right?
Free of charge on our
So,
tax dollar.
which is it's crazy to me that the people are okay with the taxpayer money being used by the federal government on things that we don't want them to use it for,
Right,
right? I think, as you know, I I'm not a super Trumpster type of person, but we got to take care of our own first.
right. I mean,
Right?
that's like the bill they passed in the Senate where they wanted to fund Ukraine and Israel and Taiwan, and they had nothing about our border. Well, as much money as we've given to Ukraine, I mean, I feel for the people that are there that are getting, the heck, destroyed out of them. But they said they could have housed all the veterans in the country with the money that we've sent over there. We
We can take care of our own homeless issues,
yes,
right? I mean, we could use that money to help ourselves, right? Which, as a taxpayer, I'm okay with that if we're supporting our own. And
right,
then whatever we have left over, if we want to help somebody, then let's help them. But this nonsense of holding people hostage on the budget because we don't want to give extra money to Ukraine or we don't want to support a specific group. Um, at some point, they got to get over that specific group nonsense, right?
right,
I mean, last time I read the Constitution, and it was about a week ago, it says everyone, we the people. It doesn't say anything about just white people, black people, Hispanics. Um, we're still going back and forth in California about reparations. Again, California was a free state. No one in California owned slaves. No one in California was a slave. So
right,
why are we pushing this reparations specifically in California? Because we were a free state. Nobody was a slave. Nobody owned slaves in California. The people that were abused the most were the Chinese in California, and they're not getting reparations,
right, right.
right? So, you
Because
know,
we the people,
yeah, if you enforce that document, you don't need anything else.
you really don't.
Nope, it has it all.
It was funny when they told Trump with these billions of dollars or millions of dollars they want from him in New York. I mean, I looked at it and I said, that's a violation of Article 8. You can't charge anybody excessive bail or excessive fines, and they do that. And when it goes to their appeals, they're going to throw this whole thing out. Give him back his money. We'll all be wearing gold tennis shoes. You know,
you know, it's the nonsense that's continues to go on. Look, we know what Trump is. There's no, he is what he is, right?
yeah,
If we expect him to be a loving, huggy type of president, that's not who he is. He's not.
right,
He,
right.
he is a man. He's a businessman that wants to do a job. That's
And
it.
he and he
Accept
tell
accept it for what he is. His
right,
talent is running a business. Yeah, I know some people are going to say someone bankrupt. That's life in the world, but we were doing very well when he was president. Right?
very well. Our gas was $1.80 something maybe. Your food
Well,
was a lot lower in costs, which is all more money in your pocket. And we had no wars.
nope.
And I think more people would have joined the military under him than they're doing now. I think they said they're all under like their goal was like 10,000 for the year or the quarter, and they can't even meet that.
I think the only branch that met their quota was the Corps, Marine Corps.
Hoorah!
Yeah, no, I don't think anybody else made it, and now even the Army's advertising. You don't have to get your COVID vaccination. We'll take
Right?
you without the vaccine. So, and I have nothing against anybody that gets the vaccine. That's your choice, right?
That's your choice.
I don't care what you do. That's your choice. Things should not be mandated by the
Right.
federal government or the state government.
I looked at when the vaccines came around. I just had the 6-way heart bypass, and I said, I'm hearing about this myocarditis, and I'm
Yeah.
going, why the hell would I get a vaccine when I got this condition? And then you hear about blood clots. You know, I think Capitol Police all had to have their uh, vaccines done while they stayed on the job. Then there was the officer, they said, oh, he got killed. Well, he died of blood clots like 3 days later. And that was probably due, that's just my opinion, maybe because of the vaccines.
Well, we don't know what caused
But it
it,
was,
and they forced that on you, right? LAPD just announced that they're not going to rehire anybody that they let go because of the COVID vaccine, right?
well, that's stupid of them.
That is so unfair, right? That they don't do that because everybody knows now that that vaccine really didn't do much, right?
Right?
Really didn't do much. It didn't stop you from getting COVID. It didn't stop the symptoms from getting any better, right? So if we know this information now, then we should just move forward and say, hey, we messed up. You know, it's up to you to get a vaccine if you want one or not. Um, but we don't
If you
do that, right?
if you
Because,
feel sick, stay at home.
yeah. Well, it's kind of ridiculous to me the nonsense that we went through during that whole period. And part of it, I blame Trump because he listened to some people he shouldn't listen to
Yeah.
when it initially happened. But we didn't need to go through all that. We just didn't need to do that. But there was some good things about being locked down. Um, as you know, I'm a big proponent of parental rights and what's being taught in our schools. So that opened up that window or Pandora's box to parents watching what their kids were actually being taught in school,
Right.
which is not what they thought, which was not math, English, and science all the time. Um, a lot of sexual stuff, a lot of racial bias stuff, a lot of LGBTQ stuff that really has no business in school,
Right.
right? We don't send people to school so they can learn about
The
that kind of
birds
stuff,
the
right?
birds
That's
and the bees.
that
You learn
that's parents' responsibility,
and you
right?
learn that anyways when you get into high school. Your friends start talking about this or that, and it's you learn that way, like a natural learning. But it's
I,
not something that's forced upon you.
and it shouldn't be for it, and parents should have the option to opt out
Right.
if they want to teach it, fine. But as a parent, I want the right to say, no, you're not going to teach that to my child, or my grandchild, or my niece, or my nephew, or whoever. But I think there was a judge in Temecula School District. He sided with the parents against the school district and the governor and our glorious Mr. Banta up in Sacramento, saying that parents have rights to know what's happening with their kids in school. And that's a good sign,
That
right?
that is.
It's a great sign for the Temecula School District. It's a great sign for all the school districts in California because then there's hope that if one judge made that choice or decision, I'm sure other judges are thinking the same thing, right?
Well, that whole uprising started out in Loudoun County, Virginia,
Yes, it did.
at the parents' conferences and stuff like this, and there was a big to do about it. And I tell the parents out there, bravo, you're looking after your kids. And Loudoun County is one of the most wealthiest counties in Virginia. It's like a big horse farm country, and they stood up for what they believed in, and God bless them,
You have to stand for what you believe in, right?
or you'll fall for anything.
If you don't stand for what you truly believe in, then you don't belong here, right? And that's my opinion. And we
Right.
don't have to agree. We can
Well,
all
sure,
agree to disagree, right? The
sure.
problem is that when you disagree with some people, then they walk away, then they call you a bigot, a racist, or a
Of course.
sexist because they don't want to talk because you're not going to agree with them. And that's the problem we have, right? People just don't want to talk anymore. You hurt my feelings. You triggered me.
Oh,
Oh,
poor
oh,
baby.
right. So, I mean, we don't all have to agree, but we can agree on certain things. And I don't understand why we don't come together in that sense. We can agree on certain. Most of us don't like violence. Most
True,
of us don't like crime.
true.
Most of us want to take care of our families.
Yep.
Most of us are not happy about food prices, right? So we can agree on those things. The other stuff we can argue about and discuss. Is green energy the answer? Maybe somewhere down the road, not in my lifetime. Um, we need to have some kind of infrastructure to make that work for everybody and make it cost effective for everybody.
And it's kind of funny you mentioned green energy. You know, they're saying, oh, we don't have that many trees like we used to have. And I'm sitting there going, hello, if you went to school and you took basic biology, you knew that the trees fed on carbon dioxide and they emitted oxygen. Hello. So
Yeah.
now you're cutting all the trees down. You're violating your own clean energy, your clean, your clean New Deal, as AOC would say.
What
And they don't look at the science, as Fauci would say, who's an idiot.
they don't they have this thing that, and I'm not a big conspiracy guy, right? But sometimes I sit there and wonder what's really going on, right? Where and it's not just us, right? It's happening in other countries too. The same thing here, right? And you got countries that are pushing back and some that are kind of doing what we're doing, just waiting and see what happens. I don't want to wait and see what happens. I don't think we should. I think the people, based on the Constitution, the country belongs to the people, not the government.
Right.
We've allowed government to get so big that now they think they can just run amok and do whatever they want, which is sad because government shouldn't be big. Government should be small.
Yep.
Government should not dictate a lot. States should run their own states. Right?
Exactly.
Right? You might not like the rules in the California Constitution, but if you choose to live here, hey, you got to follow that, right? You got to
Or
follow
get
that
it or
Constitution,
get it repealed.
right? Right, exactly. If you don't like something, then you need to be the difference maker, make a change, right?
Right.
We have to make a change. I don't think I can tell you this. If I'm fortunate enough to get elected, people in the assembly are going to have a hard time with me because I don't know how to sugarcoat anything.
That's fine. Because
I'm
what
just
I
going to
always
be
said
very abrasive,
I
and
always
I'm
said
going to tell them what I think.
political correctness has killed this country. So you don't need political correctness.
I don't believe in that. And one thing I will tell my constituents is whenever there's a bill that somebody's even thinking about, I'm going to bring it out publicly. Hey, they're working on this bill. Get ready. We need to fight for this. We can't have this bill because we can't have people like Senator Weiner coming up with other nonsense bills on what we need to do with our kids and our schools. I'm over that guy completely. Um,
Yeah. I mean,
we need to,
some of the people in these state assemblies like ours have got no concept of life. They finally legalized recreational marijuana out here. But if you're a policeman and you walk up on a car and you smell marijuana, you that's not probable cause to search the car or whatever. Well, now they're thinking about maybe repealing that because if you got a drunk driver and you smell alcohol on him, that's fine. So now they're kind of looking at it going, maybe we made a mistake somewhere here because a guy could be carrying a bale in his trunk and you don't know it and you can't do anything about it.
yeah, yeah,
Because a lot of these politicians, to exclude yourself, have got no life's experiences. They come out of school, they go work in a law firm maybe, and then they run for office. and they've got no concept of what goes on in people's everyday life.
And I think that's what I think is missing. And I agree 100%. I've had the opportunity to meet all kinds of candidates from both parties, actually from four different parties, and talk to them. And I haven't met one that's actually a blue collar person. They're,
Right?
they're attorneys, they're law professors, right? Very few construction guys, very few people that just have a normal life. Um, a lot of pastors, a lot of actors, producers running,
Ball
but no
players.
people that the money that they have, they use for whatever they want. It's somebody else's money, right? It's not their money. It's not their budget. They're dealing with other people's money, and that's not. You have to bring common sense to the table, and you have to figure out what is really wrong in your particular district or area. What's going on in Glendale could be different than what's going on in Santa Clarita, right?
Exactly. Yep.
And so if you're an assembly person running and you have this across the board idea about what you want to do, well, maybe that's not a problem in Santa Clarita. Maybe that's just a problem in Glendale, right?
Right. And that should be up to the mayor and the city council.
Yeah, the city councils are a joke in LA anyway.
They're out here too. They're, you know, we don't. They came out and gave us compost trash cans, and but they can't pick up leaves that are used to be put along the curb or pick up trash on the highway. So they spent all this money on these plastic bins for everybody. People are going, I got my own compost. I do. Why do I need your bin that just sits on the side of my house waiting for the garbage to go out?
Yep. It's they kind of placate people, right? I'll use Governor Newsom. He did this, this $20 an hour minimum wage for fast food restaurants, right? He's placating people. Hey, see, I'm going to help you make more money, but people aren't understanding the cost and effect of that decision, right?
That's right.
Right. So yeah, whoever's working is going to make $20 an hour, but you're not going to have as many people working
Right.
as you did before, and you could be one of the ones not working, making $20 an hour. Now, what you going to do, right?
Right. Well, look at Wendy's. I mean, they want to increase the stuff, but Wendy's is coming up with the idea. Oh, we're going to have surge prices, where if you see like 10 people in line, they can charge you, a nickel or more for a piece of cheese or a pickle or whatever goes on your burger, and they're going to jack the prices up. Now, if there's lower quantity of people, you might not get that surge.
Right.
What the hell is that all about?
Well, kind of like Uber and Lyft, right? They have some states they charge you depending on the time of day, busy
Right.
time of day, not so busy time of day. So it's a way to increase their fees without adding taxes, right?
Right.
And I would tell you, I went to a breakfast the other day in Glendale, right? And I didn't know this was going on, but I got an 18% service fee from the restaurant.
Wow.
18% service fee. That didn't include the tip or the taxes. That was a service fee for that restaurant in Glendale. I didn't know they were charging that in that restaurant.
Wow. That's crazy.
So, I've heard of 18% tip when it's 10 people or more or 8 or more,
Exactly.
but this is a service fee, 18%, which is outrageous as far as I'm
And
concerned.
they're going to go under because that word's going to get out and they're going to lose business and they're going to go under. And they're going to say, why did we go under? Because of your stupidity.
Well, we have people that make money off these restaurants type of thing, right? So back to Newsom and the $20 an hour. So Panera, that company Panera,
Oh, yeah.
they found a way around the $20 minimum uh, wage, right? Because Newsom put in the bill that if you bake things there, then you don't have to pay $20 minimum wage. You can pay the minimum wage, which is I think 16.85 or something like that in LA. So they found a way around that loop. on the bill that Newsom endorsed. Funny story to that is the owner and the CEO of Panera went to high school with Newsom and they're buddies.
Oh, geez. Poor
So,
guy.
and I'm sure he donates to Newsom's campaign.
Or you do when you go there.
Yeah. Well, luckily I don't like Panera, so I don't go there. But um, it's these are the things that people need to be awakened with, right? We need to have a system in place where you can't take donations from companies and organizations, right? Because once you do that, you're blind, right?
Right.
You're not going to do what's right for the people. You're going to do what's right for that company that's supporting you. We need to get away from all that nonsense and come up with a system where, you know what, as a taxpayer, I'm even willing to give money to people running for office. Okay, you're running for state assembly, you get $10,000. That's it from the feds or from the state government. That's all you can use for your campaign. Everybody across the board, right? Let's level the playing field. You can't take donations from big pharma. You can't take donations from unions. You got to run strictly on what you believe in, and there's $10,000. That would change dramatically the landscape of politics in the United States if we did that.
Yeah, and in the fast food restaurants out here, now they want to make it, the servers got paid a little bit because they made money in tips. Well, now they want to make like say they're making $2 an hour, they want to make it a $5 minimum wage for all the servers across the country, and then you get your tips. Well, that's fair because you don't have people jumping from business to business trying to, see who's going to treat them better.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, that's what they're trying to do out here.
It just, to me, a lot of the stuff is just kind of common sense to kind of, make things right so that people in political offices don't become millionaires and billionaires, right? Because again, I know what the salary is for Adam Schiff, and there's no way he should be a millionaire. There's just no way,
No,
right?
you
But
start off making $174,000 a year.
he gets inside information on stocks and bonds, and he uses it. Okay,
Yep,
allegedly, right? Um, I'm sure he gets money from other organizations, allegedly, to become who he is today. Do I sound a little jealous? No, it's not jealousy. I said that's what's wrong with the system
right,
is that these people are getting rich off the taxpayers, but they're not doing their job on our behalf.
right.
And
I
some
like
people say, well, he is doing his job. No, they're not. When was the
Adam.
last time you saw your local congressman in your district talking to you?
Adam owns an apartment out in California, but he owns a big mansion in Potomac, Maryland,
Yep.
which he calls his primary residence. And Potomac is like one of probably the richest areas in Maryland. So he's
Yeah.
helping our economy out by paying the taxes that you give him to support us instead of you.
Yep. It just, to me, it's just funny how people just don't see through their nonsense. And maybe that's why they're apathetic because they think that there's no hope. But if the people revolt in a positive way, and by that I mean by voting for candidates who live life day to day, who have struggled day to day, who go to work every day.
Right.
Right? I can't tell you, there's very few of the people that I've met that have a job.
Uh,
They're either they got disability, they're retired, or they own a company. Very few of them have a full time job.
I'm looking for a new one.
So it's amazing to me that people don't understand what's really happening. We're getting these people that like the guy in Burbank, and I'm not going to mention his name, but we call him Spanky, right? Who's a comedian and an actor who likes to get spanked by transgender women or
Oh,
men, whatever you want to
he
call them.
was a mayor or
Yeah,
a
he was a
school
mayor.
teacher,
Yeah,
right?
he's running for supervisor now for Los Angeles, right? Um, but yet, what has he done his whole life? He's been a comedian and an actor. Um, so he's never really had to deal with problems that you deal with or I deal with or my neighbor deals with, right? So I
Yep.
don't know. It's kind of disheartening,
Yeah, that's crazy.
and people have the ability to make a difference, and they and I know it's not that they don't want to. I just think that they feel like it doesn't matter, but it does matter, right? Because they're not the only ones feeling like my vote doesn't matter. There's many people like that, and
Oh
because
yeah.
there's so many like that, people don't come out and vote, and it drives me crazy. And I know in the past, I get you have to drive somewhere, but in California, there's no excuse now. You don't have to drive anywhere. You can just fill it out, clip it to your mailbox. The mailman picks it up. You get a text message when it's scanned at the post office. You get a text message when it's scanned at the state level.
That's not bad. Yeah.
So you don't have to go anywhere. If it's cold, raining, you don't have to do anything. You can just fill it out at home. Right. If you want to do it the old-fashioned way, you can start. You can go to a spot to vote now until the 5th.
That's what I'm going to do in May. I'm going to get out, pick the wife up, go over to a little rec center that's real close to us, walk in, do my early voting, and it'll be done.
That's all we can. That's all we can really do, right? I mean,
Yeah.
vote, and people need to really take that seriously and actually vote, right? If you're a U.S. citizen and you're a registered voter, you owe it to the republic to vote, right?
Yeah. I
You
mean, I'm
owe
not
it,
a big fan of the mail in ballots because of the ballot harvesting that went
right?
on last time. But, if they scan them and you know where they're going, that gives you a little bit better peace of mind.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm not a fan of it either, but in California, that's what it is, right? I do one thing different. When you fold it to put in the envelope, I don't know about your ballots, but in California, it has a QR code, right? And the way they want you to fold it, the QR code can be seen by a little hole on the envelope, right? And that QR code says what your party is, and it has a code for you. Um, I fold it the other way because I don't want them to see the QR code. I want them to actually open up the ballot,
Yeah,
um,
that makes sense. Yeah.
right? Because I don't want them to, and it's just me. It's a Tony thing. I don't need them to know what party I belong to. I need
Right.
them just to open my ballot and scan it.
Got
That's
it.
all I need them to do.
That's right.
Right? I don't
Right.
need them to look at anything else. So, um, some people, I know a guy in Cerritos. He got two ballots in the mail. Right?
Huh.
Same guy, same address, two ballots. Um, and he's alive. Last election cycle, I got a ballot for Fresno under my name here in LA County. How that happened, I have no idea. Right. So there's some mistakes and glitches that happen, and I'm gonna say those glitches are probably accidental. I'll just keep it at that. Uh,
And
but
they got 4 years to go through those rosters in each district and see who's alive, who's dead, what addresses they're using. I mean, I have a program that I use on my computer and tell me if you're alive or dead, and it'll say 100% you're at this address. And the other ones may say 50, 20, whatever. Well, it's going to go to the 100%, not the other ones.
well, and it's funny you say that because a friend of mine, his son passed away about 2 years ago, um, and he got a ballot at his house for his son. Um, so if he really wanted to, he could vote again.
Yeah.
Because at least in California, the signature doesn't have to be confirmed as long as it's signed.
Huh.
So you can have Mickey Mouse sign your ballot and they'll still count it.
Wow. Send me a ballot.
Hey, we voted. My family and I voted right away. I said I don't want to go vote on the day. I want to stay home. Um, Going to be a little nervous that whole day, so I just want to be home. I don't want to be anywhere else.
And I worked the polls last time, and the people that showed up, very cordial. Everybody had their own opinion. Nobody, said, "Oh, you shouldn't do this or you shouldn't do that," and they all got along, and it worked out fine. I mean, I understand if you're in the military, you're elderly, or you're sick, and you have to do a mail-in ballot. That's fine.
Right.
If you're an able-bodied citizen, pick your ass up, get in your car, go into the voting booth. I mean, we
I don't
never
think
had.
I don't think Americans realize what a privilege it is to vote.
Oh, right.
I don't think they really understand, gather that. It doesn't click for whatever reason. And I think it's because, we live in a country we can do whatever we want for the most part, right?
Yeah.
We really
And
don't have you can't do this, or women you can't wear that. We can do pretty much whatever we want. So people are spoiled, right? They don't, you
and
know,
most companies on the vote on election day will give you a certain like 2 hour window to go out and vote.
right,
So, somebody says, well, I got to work that day. I can't do it. Well, if you're near a voting booth and you got 2 hours off or whatever the time frame is, half day, take your butt out there and vote.
but
You
if
know,
you're in California, you don't have to do that. You can mail your ballot in.
and if you're going to do it for, I think, what's that, the 44th district,
Yep.
you got to vote for Tony. He's the man.
Hey, I want to talk. I know we're running out of time, but I want to talk a little bit about Donald Trump. I don't know if you heard, but a judge in Illinois is removing him from the ballot.
Yeah, one person, right?
Yeah,
Same as Colorado,
yeah,
and it looks like the Supreme Court probably before the 5th will have made that determination because a state can't take a federal person off a ballot
right.
because it's a conflict of interest.
Well, they're using the same line as Colorado insurrection.
Exactly, exactly. And what color is that state? Blue.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
isn't that Obama state?
it is
No surprise. No
in
surprise there.
the greater Chicago area.
You know, why do you think Nikki Haley hasn't stepped down? I want to hear your side because I think I have my own opinion about Nikki.
I don't know if she thinks that something is going to happen where he would get convicted and those votes would go to her,
Uh huh.
or what her main reasoning is for it. That's the only thing I can think of. But as you can see, she's if you're not in first place, you're in last, and
Yep.
she's in last.
And I bring it up because somehow she's starting to sound more and more like a progressive left person.
She is, and that's why a lot of the mega Republicans are going, she's a rhino, she's a Democrat. Who are her donors? The Koch brothers were one of her donors, and they pulled out.
And then lastly, Mitch McConnell. He's going to step down, right?
Thank God.
Which is about time. I'm with you.
He
Um,
called himself a Reagan Republican, and Reagan is probably rolling over in his grave right now to think that.
he to me is in the same category as Joe Biden. They just need to go
Exactly.
away.
Well, yeah, I mean, you'd sit there and he would stare and just forget everything that's going on around him, and they have to say, "Come on, let's go to your office." I mean, he's in decline.
Right. And and I've said this about Biden's family, but again, you know what? If family truly loves you, they would step in and get you out of that situation, especially if you don't have the right mindset,
Right.
and talk to you and say, hey, you need to back away. You need to quit. You can't do this anymore. Let's walk away the right way and not the wrong way. Because I
Don't.
think, I know these guys are entrenched in the political world, and I know that maybe they had good intentions when they decided to run, but that changed somewhere in the process.
Right.
So if my father was running for office and I saw him like that, I would talk to him.
All right.
I would say,
Yeah.
"Hey, Dad, I think you don't run, right? Because sometimes I would be honest and have a candid conversation with him, because I don't want him, number one, to embarrass himself. Number two, um, they start hearing things about what they look like and how they're acting and how their mental ability is declined. That can be depressing for an elderly person, right?
Oh yeah,
Right? None of us want to, I can't even fathom the day that I need somebody to help me go for a walk. I don't even want to think about that.
right.
Or where I don't know what I'm talking about. Though some people say I don't know what I'm talking about when I'm out there talking about politics. So,
Well, we know what side of the fence they're on.
yeah, well, I've met some good people on the left. I met some good people on the right. I met some knuckleheads on both sides. Too extreme either way for me. But I think, I hope and pray that at least in California, you people start voting. Don't wait until the 5th. If you don't have to, vote now. Vote for whoever you want. It doesn't matter. I would appreciate if you vote for me if you're in District 44, but if you're not, vote for whoever you want. We need to support the Republic. We need to take care of our families. We need to take care of our kids. We need to protect law enforcement. We need to support them. We need to give them the tools they need so that they can do their job. We need to get rid of people like Gascon. We need to have fresh blood
Right.
doing our due diligence every day to protect us. Mikey, I want to thank you for tonight.
I want to thank Martin, Will, and Jessica for also tuning in. I've seen them on our page here.
Okay. I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight on the Tony Rodriguez Show, the Next Gen USA. Obviously, we're senseless. We can say whatever we want and do whatever we want here. But the election is on March 5th. I am running for California State Assembly District 44, which includes the cities of Burbank, Glendale, La Crescenta, La Tuna Canyon, Lakeview Terrace, Montrose, Sunland, Tahunga, Valley Village, some parts of Sherman Oaks, and some parts of North Hollywood. Think about a change. We need a change in our area. We need somebody that cares about our families and our kids. Vote for me, Tony Rodriguez. Check out my website, Tony, the number 4, California.us. Again, Tony, the number 4, California.us. Thank you and good night, everybody.
Have a good night.